So we have a very, very special guest tonight, and she's our Deputy Prime Minister of Canada, our first female finance minister of this country, intergovernmental minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs, so many other ministries she has handled very well, but she came into fame when she became our Minister of International Trade and particularly dealing with the US for NAFTA. So she's none other than Chrystia Freeland. What a journey, Chrystia, a lawyer, a journalist, daughter of a Ukrainian immigrant. You are a success story of immigrants in this country.
Well, Rajinder, thank you for saying that. I have to say, to be perfectly truthful, not a lawyer, but I am proud that I used to have your job. I used to be a journalist, and I think that's a really, really important job. And I'm grateful to you for doing this job for Canadians.
So she's very much from GTA, but representing our country now on many fronts. Chrystia, you are first female finance minister, and you recently presented budget in the Parliament, House of Commons. What was your experience? Tell us first of all.
Okay, so Rajinder, I'm going to start by saying my focus is to try to be the best possible finance minister I can be. It's not to be the best woman finance minister or the best Ukrainian Canadian finance minister or the best not very tall finance minister. I just want to do as good a job as I can supporting Canadians. And what I would say, Rajinder, is I am really proud of Canadians. I think that getting through the COVID pandemic has been incredibly hard. This has been the deepest recession since the Great Depression, and it's a pandemic. It has threatened our lives. And too many of us have someone close to us who have died. And a lot of very brave people have gone out and continued to do their jobs when they knew it was dangerous to do it. And I just have to say, Canadians have been amazing. And as finance minister, I've seen it as my job to support Canadians as much as we can, to help individual Canadians and families get through the pandemic without losing their house, without going bankrupt, to help especially small businesses get through the pandemic. And that has cost a lot of money, Rajinder. It's been really expensive, but it has been money well spent, because the result is today, as we see the light at the end of the tunnel, as Canada gets vaccinated at this incredibly fast rate, we are now in a position to reopen our economy. And because we have preserved small businesses, because we have preserved family finances, our economy is already starting to come roaring back. It's going to be a great summer. It's going to be a great rest of the year.
Okay. Last year, government couldn't present budget because of COVID-19. So this budget was very important. Of course, government is helping small businesses, Canadians in every way. But at the same time, there is a big deficit in the budget also. So your job is very tough to keep the budget balanced. And on one hand, you have to spend on infrastructure. At the same time, you have to keep in mind the debt also. So how you are managing that?
Okay. Rajinder, it sounds as if you understand my life very well. Yeah. And that's the balance I try to strike every day. And, knock on wood, so far, I think we have successfully struck that balance. And, I always say to my children, I want to know how well you think you did your homework, but I also want to know what your teachers think. So I want to tell you and the people watching and listening, not just my own view of how we've managed that balance, but the view of some outsiders. So it's been important to me that we provide the support Canadians and Canadian businesses need, but that we do it in a way that Canada can afford, that we do it in a way which is responsible and sustainable. And the truth is, Canada today has the lowest net debt to GDP ratio in the G7, even after all this spending. And for me, probably the most important report cards have been from the credit rating agencies. And after the budget was tabled, S&P, the credit ratings agency, maintained Canada's credit rating at AAA. That's the highest possible. And a few weeks after that, Moody's also gave Canada, maintained our rating at AAA, the highest possible. So don't just believe me. These external judges, and their judgment is important because that determines how much Canada has to pay to borrow money. They've said, you know what? Canada can afford to do what it's doing. And, part of the reason for that, Rajinder, is the best way to pay our debts is with strong economic growth. And the money we spent to get through COVID, to finish the fight against COVID, that was an investment in the recovery now. And by not having families go bankrupt, by not having businesses go bankrupt, we're in a much stronger position today. And we're going to actually, I believe, very effectively pay off our debts because we're going to have an economy that is growing so strongly.
Many political analysts are saying that this budget was prepared keeping in mind the midterm elections in mind, and there is a buzz that we are having election in September or October. What do you have to say?
Rajinder, our government has been really clear that we don't want an election. Our focus is on Canadians. Our focus is on finishing the fight against COVID, and we're almost there, and on a strong and fast recovery from the COVID recession. So as finance minister, that is my laser focus. Recover from this really difficult time. Help Canadians to do that. And that's what we're doing.
Okay. There is no question that all these support given by stimulus packages given by the federal government has helped a lot, not only Canadians in general, small businesses in particular, and big businesses also. Okay, so far we have this understanding that all these benefits will continue till September, I believe. Any hope that, because we are already quite close to cover up this issue of pandemic, but what we can expect in near future?
So that's a good question, Rajinder. And let me just say, in the budget, which was passed by Parliament last week, we said that these support measures will continue to the end of September 25th. So that's still quite a long time, and the economy is already opening up. We also have created a new measure to support Canadian businesses, and that is called the Canada Recovery Hiring Credit. And this is specifically to sort of help support and turbocharge the recovery, because this benefit is going to give businesses a little bit more money if they want to hire new workers, or they want to get the people who work for them today to work additional hours as the economy opens up. We know that's a risk for people. I think this has been a frightening time for a lot of people. And to sort of say, okay, the economy is reopening, I'm going to take that risk, hire a new person. I think that's scary for a lot of businesses. So what we're saying is the government is going to support you and take on that, help take on some of that risk. And that credit is going all the way to November. So there is the support there. And I want to remind you, Rajinder, of the question you asked me a minute ago, which is about the government debt. And so for sure, I understand that, this moving away from the disaster support that we had to provide during lockdowns when, COVID was here and we couldn't behave normally. Moving away from that to a recovery, that's going to be, I think, mostly a wonderful process, and we're all so happy, but also a little bit of a challenging process. And so we're going to do it gradually. But I want to say to businesses, really, all the signs are that this is going to be a very strong, very robust economic recovery. And we're going to provide you the support you need to really take advantage of it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chrystia, for all this information. It's really, really important information for our listeners and viewers right now. Okay, before you go, we are celebrating Canada Day. Canada Day is coming very soon. Country of multiculturalism, country of immigrants, people from all over the world come with lots of dreams, and we are blessed. We fulfill our dreams in this country. Yeah, we have some sad news also coming from residential schools, and we won't be able to celebrate Canada Day as usual we used to celebrate because of COVID also. But still, your message for Canadians on this Canada Day, and any other thing you want to add at the end?
Rajinder, my message would echo the message you have just offered. And that is that, I am going to be celebrating Canada Day with my family. I think we still have to be a little bit careful, but I'm going to celebrate with my family. And I think that we have a lot to celebrate. I think it's important, as you say, Rajinder, to recognize that Canada is not perfect. Our history is far from perfect and has many dark chapters. And I think the darkest chapter of all is the treatment of Indigenous people in Canada. And all of us who are not Indigenous have to share in that burden and be part of reconciliation. But I also think that it is a strong country, a democratic country, that can face up to its problems and be committed to fixing them. And at the same time, I think always as Canadians, but maybe especially on Canada Day, we should recognize and celebrate what an amazing country we are, what a wonderful, diverse, multicultural country we are. So many of us, including my own family, have come a very long distance and have come from places of great oppression. And certainly the elders in my family, and I bet this is true in your family, too, Rajinder, say to the young people like me born in Canada, you are so lucky. You are so lucky to be born in Canada. Yes, and I feel that way. And I think we all have an obligation to fix the things that don't work, to celebrate the things that are great, and to keep on working together. And that's what I think we're going to do.
Before you go, this is the question I asked Mr. Trudeau also, and I'm going to ask you also. Okay, so being a woman, being a mother, being a female, how you keep your life balanced? We have seen you during NAFTA particularly, you are working day and night, you were collapsing but still fighting for Canada. So how you try to keep everything balanced?
So Rajinder, you know what, I'm going to start by saying, yeah, I do work hard, and I think it's important to work hard. And, I work for you, and I work for your viewers and listeners, and they should expect me to work hard, and I do. But I know that there are so many people in the country who work harder than I do in more difficult circumstances, earning less money. And, we learned during COVID who the truly essential workers are in the country. And I think about those people all the time. And I always remind myself, sometimes I get tired. I feel sorry for myself. I especially feel sorry for myself if I come home after a hard day of work and the kitchen is a mess and I have to clean it up. That can be quite depressing. But I say to myself that there are so many people in the country, many of them new Canadians, who work a lot harder than me. And so I just put on my apron and I get to work.
Thank you so much. We are confident that very soon we will be out of this pandemic. We will expect you in our studio also. It's long due visit now.
I can't wait.
ਤੋ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਸਾਡੇ ਡਿਪਟੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀਆ ਫਰੀਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਫਾਈਨਾਂਸ ਵੀ ਨੇ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਜਟ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ। ਉੱਥੇ ਗੁੱਡ ਨਿਊਜ਼ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਗਏ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ 25 ਸਤੰਬਰ ਤੱਕ, ਉਮੀਦ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੋਰ ਸਮਾਂ ਹਜੇ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਨੋ ਡਾਊਟ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਫਾਈਨਲ ਸਟੇਜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ, ਬੜੀ ਜਲਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ। ਪਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਿਸ ਐਸੇ ਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਕੰਸੀਡਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਨੂੰ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊ ਰੱਖਣ ਬਾਰੇ। ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਮੇਂ 'ਚ ਅਨਾਊਂਸਮੈਂਟ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਕਰਨ, ਪਰ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਸੀ TV ਉੱਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਬ੍ਰੇਕਿੰਗ ਨਿਊਜ਼ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ।